Baldur's Gate is about the story. It's about the narrative. It's about the character development. But this being Dungeons & Dragons, even though BG is powered by an AD&D, an Advanced Dungeons & Dragons engine, it's also about the magic items and knowing how to use magic items, making those decisions. When do I keep them? How long do I keep them? Do I sell them? When do I sell them? That offers another layer of tactical flexibility in the game. And in this vlog, we're going to be exploring +1 magic items from the perspective of weapons. +1 dagger, +1 short sword, +1 long sword. The idea here is to push these Tactica exploring magic items to the Baldur's Gate playlist here on my channel. But in doing so, I'm very aware of spoilers. So much of the game is literally discovery. The various storylines, where these items are, how to acquire them, the quests. I don't want to give that away because I don't know where you are in your BG journey. So I'm not going to name specific quests, specific locations, or how to acquire these items. Maybe you already have on your first or second playthrough. If not, you've got something to look out for, and when you find them, you have an idea of how to use them. So early on, if we kind of break down BG1 into chapters, early on you start acquiring +1 weapons. And there's enough sprinkled around for primary weapons, +1 quarterstaff, +1 dagger, +1 short sword, +1 long sword, that you will gain these pretty early on. Their sale value is certainly there as a magic item, but it's not anything like, well, if I sell this item, then I get so much gold. It's worth just foregoing the +1 bonus and how that interacts to hit and to attack, and we'll just bank the gold. But at the same time, you're going to trade up pretty fast, and you'll get that little bit of a boost. The main aspect of these weapons is Advanced Dungeons & Dragons being a numbers game where first you have to hit. You got to go up against Thaco to hit armor class 0. So any little bonus, every little buff that you can get, they stack, they have a synergy to them. It makes things much easier to hit. Outside of magic and certain abilities, the AD&D paradigm is that you have to hit the target first. Then you do damage. And that's also a separate roll with a range depending on the weapon, and of course augmented by strength or the pluses in magic. So a +1 to hit is a bigger deal at the lower levels where you're going up against monsters that don't have a really amazing armor class. It is a significant boost. Also, depending on the build of your character, whether it's an NPC or your primary tune, exploring that, there are penalties often for wielding 2 weapons. Having a plus type weapon cuts down on that somewhat significantly, especially if it's an offhand and it's not sized for the speed factor. Having that +1 means you're going to hit more. You're attacking with 2 weapons. You're potentially dealing more damage. That makes a significant difference and buys you some time with a 2-weapon build until you can get enough pips to put into those skill points to kind of boost out some of those negative modifiers or get some other magic item gear to just kind of brute force your strength to bypass them. So early on, you're going to find these. You're going to want to utilize them right away where they're going to be the most effective. But the challenge here is as you move through the chapters in the game and the monsters and the encounters become much more difficult. And difficult stacks 3 ways. Difficulty in Baldur's Gate is, well, first I have to hit. Then I got to do damage. But also some of these monsters / encounters, I don't want to be going 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rounds because they have a lot of abilities or they have a lot of unique things that they're just going to hit me with that I don't want to be hit with. So the sooner I can dispatch them, the better. As the chapters scale up and these things become harder, a +1 magic item is going to start to gas out. I mean, it's better than a named item. They also do not break from that perspective. So you're going to be able to rely on them. It's nothing, I'm not saying carry a backup weapon because you usually want all your slots to gather gear to sell, but it's nice not having to worry about that based on what's happening in the story and the quest. But this idea of when you start to progress in levels and at certain chapters, be ready to acquire better weapons or make it part of your subquests to find those weapons that go beyond the generic +1. A stepping stone in BG1, but definitely not where we want to end as you're leveling up.